All right. Okay, so just something to think about before we finish the lesson today. We'll kind of have an idea of actually how to solve this. So which would you prefer, to be given $1 million or a penny the first day, then double that penny the next day, then double the previous day's pennies, and so on for a month? Okay. Who would prefer the $1 million? Why?
So I can invest it and make more money quicker.
You're not the only one that's ever said that.
I'm really worried about money here.
Yeah. I always get a student that says they want the $1 million so they don't have to deal with the pennies. Like y'all would. Okay, so we'll look at that towards the end of the lesson today. So on Thursday we spent majority of the time with the arithmetic sequences, and then we learned about the series. So we were adding to get to the next term. We're doing geometrics today, and we are multiplying to get to the next term. Okay, so this is 8-3.
It's just 8-3.
I'm sorry?
It's just 8-3.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So technically it was all just 8-2, the last one. 8-1's like an introduction to sequences or something like that. So remember, we're going to do Pascal's triangle on Wednesday, review on Friday. That means your test or quiz or whatever for this will be on Tuesday before Thanksgiving break. We're almost there. We'll be good. As soon as we turn the corner of Thanksgiving, it's like game on to finishing the first half of the year. All right, so try and get all this on the same slide here. There we go. All right, so a geometric sequence. Again, this one we are multiplying to get to the next term, and that's called our common ratio. And the geometric series is the sum of the geometric sequence. Okay, so we are now multiplying to get to the next term as opposed to adding to get to the next term.
How was your weekend?
It's good. It's good. We went tailgating with Chase. Just get out of the house. He's too little to go to games just yet.
See everybody.
Huh?
See failing everybody.
For the most part, we're trying to do like a trial and error of if there's any foods that are bothering him. So, but no, he seems to be doing a lot better. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I toured ETSU on Saturday.
You were what?
I toured ETSU on Saturday.
Did you like it?
I guess so, from what I saw, which was the outside.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's an open house, but none of the buildings are unlocked, so you don't actually know
Oh,
what we
because it's
have
a
here.
weekend?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Like, okay, cool.
Huh.
There's lots of brick and that's all I know about the school.
I like your brick.
Yeah, I guess so. And there's a.
You knew you were gonna pick your college based on brick, right?
I know.
All right. So that's that same notation. Erase that. Whoops, not that one. There it is. All right, so here is our geometric sequence explicit formula. And if we were interested, which I just realized my board is still not working right. So we're gonna have to be creative writing this way. This takes me back to virtual teaching, which was so fun. Okay, so if I wanted to do the recursive formula, that means I would take the term before, and in this case, I would then multiply by our common ratio. Again, if you see it, now you know what it's like. Not necessarily one we're going to use, but that's what the recursive formula is. Okay. A sub 1 is still our first term. R is our common ratio. N is still the term number. And then the A sub n is our nth term. None of that's changed. All right. Delete all this nonsense. Okay, go ahead and find my 8th term of the sequence here. So again, nothing's stopping you, especially if there's 4 terms, to go 4 more by just multiplying, or you can use that formula you just learned. Up to you.
This is it.
All right, so what is my common ratio here? 3. So I'm multiplying by 3 each time. Again, I could keep multiplying by 3 if I wanted to, especially with it being that close. You can always do it both ways. But we have our A sub 8, which means we're finding our 8th term. So our first term is 5. Our common ratio is 3. And we have to the 8 minus 1. And we end up with 10,000, what? 935. Okay. Straightforward. All right. Go ahead and find my formula and the 10th term. The good news with these problems is that when we find the formula, we don't simplify because we can't. The arithmetic we had to simplify because we could. These we cannot. So that will be a whole lot easier. And then go ahead and find your 10th term. right? So like I said, our formula, we cannot simplify. Please do not ever multiply that -3 times 2. Okay. The 2 is being raised to the n minus 1, so you cannot say that's -6 now raised to the n minus 1. So please do not do that. Okay. So if we then plug in 10, and I would highly encourage y'all on a test to at least show me that that's what you plugged into your calculator. Okay, especially with these calculator problems that are like one and done, you plug them in, you're literally done. You can accidentally type in something wrong, but if you showed me, hey, I plugged in 10 for n, then I'll be able to give you as much partial credit as I can, okay? Instead of just saying -1,536, and that's it, okay? All right, any questions so far?
You're not gonna count that wrong if I do that. If I just put the answer.
No, I'm just saying, what if you accidentally typed in
So you just got
something else? I don't know. Maybe instead of 10, you typed in 11 on accident just because calculator. And when you type it in, you're going to get something completely different. So if you just give me just a number answer, I can't help you. All right. So with arithmetic, we had 2 formulas. We had, well, technically 3 if we include the recursive, but we're not going to. We had the explicit form, and that was to find the nth term, whatever term that was. Then we had the series formula, and that was to find the sum of a sequence. All right. Geometric has 3. They have also their nth term that you're going to find. You have the sum of a finite geometric series, and then you have the sum of an infinite geometric series. So I'd make sure you label this one the finite series, okay? The reason for that being, since we're multiplying to get to the next term, if I want to find the sum, if I'm telling you the sum of the first 5 terms, there's an ending to it, okay? But if I tell you ... after a sequence, or it keeps going and everything like that with the infinity ones, then we have to figure out what number it converges to, okay? So a sub 1 is still our first term, r is still our common ratio, n is still the term number, and we're going to find the sum of those terms, okay? Whatever n they tell you, you're going to find the sum of that. There is an ending, if you will. Okay? As it was saved without erasing answers. Okay. Go ahead and try these 3. Remember, your bank of formulas is really small. So you only have 2 so far. So you have the sum of a finite geometric series, and then how to find the nth term of a geometric sequence. Okay, let's check out the first one. So this is ideal because we are given everything we need. Ooh, that S looks like a 5. -2. And then we have our common ratio of 1/2. And it's raised to the 5 minus 1. Whoa, wait a second. Wrong formula. Hold, please. There we go. Okay, -2. 1 minus 1/2 raised to the 5th. This 1/2. There we go.
I definitely just not gonna look at it until I already finished the whole thing, and I did all my. It was like 8 o'clock now. Took like 3 hours on most of it.
So -31/8. Or you could have put -3.875. Either one's fine. Okay.
I hated teachers that would make you put in one form or another. Like, that's so weird. Like, what is it?
Well, I still do that. This one I don't care.
That's what he's saying.
He hates me.
Yeah.
Like, if it comes out one way in the calculator, that's just the way I write it. Like, I'm not gonna go back.
I prefer fractions. But that's just me. Sorry you hate me for it.
No,
All right.
if it comes out in a fraction, I love fractions.
What? You don't hear that a lot. Okay, so if we fill in what we know our first term. What's our common ratio here? Okay, -3/2 or -1.5, either one, because you're plugging that in the calculator anyways. Raised to the n all over 1 minus -3/2. Now, in this particular example, it doesn't matter in regards to those parentheses that we're dealing with here. But because it's raised to the 7th power, just be in the habit of putting in parentheses, because if it becomes an even power, then that does mess everything up. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. So one of the state tests a while back gave the formula with the n on the outside of the big parentheses on the formula sheet. I wonder how many people got that question right.
This is why I'm an anarchist.
Do it.
That's why I believe in anarchy.
Mm.
That's edgy.
Yeah.
Or you could have put 57.875. Either or. Okay. And our last one, if we have the sum of the first 6 terms, we have our This is so hard to write this way. 1 minus, what's our common ratio here? 3 raised to the 6th power. Whoops, as I write it that way after saying that's how they wrote it.
My math class last year, like we didn't even get close to finishing all the stuff before like our standardized test. So like we literally like didn't know half of the stuff on it.
You didn't learn this stuff, you said?
I don't know if it was. I might have been like unit circle stuff.
They didn't go. They didn't get to trig.
Yeah.
And that was like a big portion.
It was like 10, 15 trig questions.
We got to trig.
Yeah, we finished. We had time to spare.
Well, I didn't have
And then I heard that.
a little bit of
Sorry,
no, we had to go back and do it after.
Questions on these 3? After it takes me 30 minutes to write it using a little touchpad. Any questions? So let's say, for example, they didn't give you this part right here. And they just said the sequence, and they said to find the sum, okay? In this particular case, it'd be really easy to find out that if we do 108 times 3 and then times 3 again, we get 972. It'd be a quick way to figure out there's 6 terms. But then if we didn't know that, y'all could always use that first formula, the a sub 1 times r raised to the n minus 1. Like I said, our bank of formulas is small. So if you plug everything into the summation, well, not summation, the sum formula, the series formula, and you're missing a piece, then just use the explicit formula. All right. So what if we have an infinite series? Meaning it goes on forever, okay? If your common ratio, the absolute value of your common ratio is less than 1, then that infinite series is going to converge to a number, okay? So if you think about it, you're like, wait, you want me to add up an infinite amount of numbers, and it's going to add up to something, okay? If the common ratio is a fraction, all right, less than 1, which means we're getting more decimals, more decimals, more decimals, more decimals. So when we're adding all those decimals together, it converges to a particular number. All right. But if our common ratio is greater than 1, our numbers are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as we multiply. So therefore, it will not converge to a sum. So it diverges. So you're first going to figure out if a series converges or diverges. And once you figure that out, then you can use this little formula that's on the next slide. Y'all seen the schedule yet
No, but I like it too.
for the testing? So we'll have our 7 a.m. and all your, so you'll have whatever we're having in here. Then you'll go to your first and second period classes, probably review or whatever you're working on. And then you'll have your third and fourth finals first. So then that way, the next day, you just come for first and second, and then you leave after those 2 days.
Are the
Of course.
times different for the classes?
Do I?
Are the times in the classes different, like longer or shorter, or are they the same?
I bet study hall won't be around, and I'm sure it'll end at 12 like normal.
Might as well mine on the school.
Might as well. And then the 17th is makeup.
So you don't have a fourth block, you can leave early, like
Do it.
You can leave early if you don't have a forklift.
Yeah, that's usually, I think, how that works.
Wait, so if you don't have a first or second block package in the class,
You don't?
I don't think so. Not something with a midterm. I think.
Well, you have to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like there's no test or whatever. Like, you have to be there.
Oh, are these?
So if I have a dual enrollment class.
Band kids always trying to get
Dual
us.
enrollment's different.
It's actually
So
not
if I don't
bad
have a third and
classes.
fourth, I just need to leave.
This is not academic.
I just, I'm just gonna say this, You watched
Would you
the video?
normally leave
I didn't
after?
read it.
Yeah.
like if you watch the video from Thursday, I didn't mean it.
So the 13th and the 14th are still.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that.
What'd
I
you
was-
say?
I was kidding.
I didn't even know what you said.
No, I don't know.
I know, cause you weren't there.
Apparently he said something in the video with the notes.
I know, and I didn't mean
I
it.
don't even remember what you said.
I want them to figure it out. I'll tell you
It's
once
like
I
a
watch the video.
45-minute video.
Oh, okay.
It was, yeah,
Oh, I have to watch the whole thing.
yeah.
That's right, because I said, I was like, I wonder if they'll catch that you called them out or something.
Yeah.
The 13th and the 14th.
Do it.
I don't do much. Just leave. That's awesome.
I know, like I said, once we get out of Thanksgiving break, it's like,
Let's go.
I love Thanksgiving so much.
Thanksgiving is
Do you?
It is the best.
Yeah.
I love Thanksgiving,
One of the few excuses I have is just gain 10 pounds in a week.
right? I love that I have two that I get to go to, my family and Scott's family.
You guys enjoying this?
Yes, they are. The computer, remember, not the
I
projector.
know, but it feels, it's like when someone's deaf and they have the microphone thing. You don't talk to the microphone.
I had to talk to the screen only because I was writing on the screen while I was doing virtual, but I had my computer turned.
Well, see, I wasn't even talking to the screen.
Let's get serious. Kids have already skipped on to the next page.
Okay. It's true.
They're like, I already got what I need. They already took a picture and they called it a day. Eleni, are you listening in there?
No, I'm sending you mine.
She said she was going to watch it.
No, she wasn't.
All right, this is the formula you need. The other step you already wrote down, okay? So if it does have a sum, meaning it converges, you're going to use this little small formula. Your first term over 1 minus r. Okay? So now geometric has three formulas. You have your explicit formula, you have your sum of a finite series, and now you have the sum of an infinite geometric series. Okay? So now you have a total of 5 formulas you need to know for the test. Ooh.
Oh, we have to know these ones?
Yeah, they're not on
The
your
whole unit.
state one, so then I don't give them to you on the test. All right. So first you need to figure out if the series converges or diverges by looking at the common ratio. Once you figure that out, then you can find the sum. If it diverges, then you need to tell me that it has no sum. You don't just put diverges and call it a day. Okay? So tell me whether it converges or diverges. And then if it converges, tell me the sum. If it diverges, say no sum. So number 4, you cannot put an infinity sign in your calculator. So if you see infinity at the top of a summation symbol, I know naturally you see that summation symbol and you quickly grab your calculator to plug it in. You cannot plug that in, so you have to solve it using the formula, if it can be solved.
The 3 dots mean infinite, right? Or like it goes on forever. That's good.
And then back.
Never mind.
Yeah, the dots mean infinity. Goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
I was here too.
Yeah, no, that was always the board in this meeting, so I'll just wait for her to tell. And then write it down. I met a guy in Johnson City that he had punk rock tattoos on his fingers,
Oh yeah?
but instead of right here, it was right here.
Like upside down?
No, like it was still like this. Yeah, it was like this. And I was like, I told him, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I hope you didn't.
I did.
How old was this person?
I don't know, I was like 50 something.
Okay, that makes sense.
I was like, yeah, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Let's see. Different things.
I said, if you're gonna lay one on somebody, they don't see
I
this
think it
part.
would bug me that if they were like this and it read it, that when they're like this,
Yeah.
it would be like backwards and I would be like.
He didn't have any right here. That's the thing. Is that
I know, that's what I'm saying though, when you take, like, if you're like, if it goes this way, but then when you extend your fingers, then it's gonna go backwards. That would bug me.
Do you have any tattoos?
Do what?
Do you have tattoos?
No, she's
It's a
Mormon.
personal question.
Is it?
Yeah, one.
Are you Mormon?
That's pretty cool.
What is it?
It's
It's the breast cancer ribbon.
Okay.
My aunt had it 3 times.
Couldn't see it.
3 times.
She get on me.
Passed away Christmas morning. She was my godmother. I was 25.
That was my grandmother, her parting gift was that she died on the 31st, so we didn't have to redo our taxes.
How did she have that? She just said,
That was her parting gift.
okay.
It was on the new year, so we didn't have to redo any paperwork.
I feel terrible. Oh, me.
It's true. We were upset that she died, but we were like, if there's any day, that was each other.
That was it.
So
All right. On that note, I really enjoyed the show today, guys. What is our common ratio for the first one? 1/2. All right. So if it's 1/2, that is less than 1. So this converges. Oh, listen. I'm going to type that part out. All right, so if it converges, we can use the formula. And so we have S equals our first term, which is 1, over 1 minus R, which is 1/2. So this series converges to 2, which makes sense because if you think about it, we've got 1 and then plus all the decimals that keep on going forever and ever and ever. So it's going to converge to 2. Okay. Number 2, does that converge or diverge? Converge. Our common ratio is still 1/2. Okay. And what does this converge to? -10. Good. Our first term is -5 over 1 minus 1/2. So then we end up multiplying by 2 and we get -10. Okay. What is my common ratio down here? Negative what? -3/2. Okay. when we are trying to figure out if it converges or diverges, we don't care about the negative. Okay, we want the absolute value, and 3/2 is greater than 1, so this diverges. So then you would put diverges, and you would put no sum.
You have to put the common ratio though.
I'm sorry?
You have to put the common ratio.
No, not necessarily, unless it says list it.
I just saw that it was bigger, so I just didn't need to bother.
Yeah, no, that's fine. On number 4, you could realize that this is written out just like the formula.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was crayon an option?
Uh-huh.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Crayon?
Uh-huh.
You do so.
It's like,
Is it
That's
It is.
disgusting.
Yeah.
That's not what crayons are.
Gross.
That's not what crayons
that's disgusting.
Crayons are way prettier than
Then you're pretty.
Thank you.
There's also a creative pen as well. You can do all kinds of things.
Why is it shaded?
Ah, that's
Can you
gross.
write that?
Writing flowers for the rest of
That's
the
actually the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate that more than the crayon. Right? Even worse than the punk.
I feel like, yeah, the punk rock just lost its status.
What is that? Look at the carpet
I
now.
really like the fun.
Frozen.
Oh, so cute.
Why would you ever use it?
Add a little color in
This one's my favorite.
That's wretched.
there.
What's
It
your favorite?
deserves
I
that.
want to know what's your favorite.
It's just a pen. No, but it's magic.
Okay, well that's kind of nice.
It blocks out all the noise. But it's also my favorite pen because if I am writing that my common ratio is 0.8, and I know my first term is 1, and then 1 minus 0.8. Hope you're writing this down because it's going away. It disappears.
Oh, that makes sense.
Pretty cool, huh?
If a teacher ever actually used that in a lesson, I would quit the class and then punch the teacher.
That's assault.
Well, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't.
I would hope not. So we get 1 over 0.2, which is the same thing as 2/10. So 1 over 2/10. The same thing as 10 over 2. Whoops. I can't write 10. So what does this converge to? 5. All kinds of fun things. All right. Any questions?
So it's like there for no reason. The big E from whatever sigma.
Kinda. I mean, it has a meaning.
I mean, you see.
That's their way of saying find the sum of the infinite series without saying directions.
Why can't math people?
All right. Who wants the pennies? Who wants the $1 million? Still holding true?
Yes.
I think $1 million.
Okay, well, let's
I don't know if 30 days enough.
No.
To get
Follow the Warren
Two
Buffett.
to the
30th day, 2 to the 29th power, and that's pennies.
That's 2,147,000.
2 to the 29th power?
29. Oh yeah. That starts at 0.
$5,368,709.12.
So it is worth.
It's not.
A whole lot more.
It's not.
I would love that.
I don't wanna
Right?
wait- I don't want to wait
I
30
ask
days.
for $1 million in a duffel bag every single year, but I never get it for Christmas.
In a duffel bag?
I don't. It just adds more dramatic.
Where did it?
No
I
telling.
don't.
Hope y'all enjoyed the show today.